Welcome to 5 Minute Sunday School on Easter Day. Happy Easter. Isn't this the most important, most exciting day of the Christian year? What do you think? There are so many uplifting and joyous songs that we sing on a day like today. Jesus Christ is risen today. Christ the Lord is risen today. Hosanna. And yet, I find myself talking about crying, funnily enough. Our reading today is from John chapter 20, and it's all about the story of Mary. Mary was one of those who stood around the cross on Good Friday, and early on the Sunday morning, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb and found that the stone had been rolled away from the entrance of the cave tomb. So she went to find Simon Peter and the other disciple and said, "They've taken the Lord's body. We don't know where they've put him." And then she came back to the tomb and she's standing outside crying and weeping. She stoops and looks in. And there's two white-robed angels in the tomb, one at the head and one at the foot of where they had lain the body. "Dear woman," they said to her, "why are you crying?" She said, "They've taken away my Lord and I don't know where they've put him." And she turned to leave and someone was standing beside her. It was Jesus, but she didn't recognize him. "Dear woman, why are you crying?" Jesus asked. "Who are you looking for?" And she thought he was the gardener. "Sir," she said, "if you've taken him away, tell me where you've put him and I'll go and get him." "Mary," said Jesus to her. He calls her by her name and she goes, "Oh, Rabboni." She realized who he was. Amazing. What do you feel about crying? I hated crying when I was young. I just look like a frog when I've been crying. My eyes are all red and my face goes all blotchy, and I got so embarrassed when I cried in front of other people, perhaps at a soppy film or for a song. Sometimes our emotions get really uptight and I hated crying. Can you imagine poor Mary? She was hiding away because she hated the fact that she looked like a frog and she was so upset. I've got a picture of Mary. Can you see her? That's a statue of Mary. She'd been crying so much that she just didn't even recognize Jesus until he spoke to her by name. Jesus calls us by our name, doesn't he? Do you know what was amazing is that Mary felt like everything had come to an end on Good Friday. It was the end of everything. And she discovered in the moment when she saw Jesus that it wasn't the end. It was the beginning. It was the start of something totally new. One of my songs that I've learnt to love, I changed the words slightly. Instead of Lord of the Dance, I always sing Lord of Life, because Jesus said death was finished with and he had brought new life. He'd broken his way through death and he would never ever die again. And that meant for us, life was new. Life was totally different. It was a new beginning. And this is the last verse. They cut me down and I leapt up high. I am the life that'll never, never die. And I'll live in you if you live in me. I am the Lord of life, said he. Love then wherever you may be. I am the Lord of life, said he. And I'll lead you all wherever you may be. And I'll lead you all into life, said he. So on Easter Sunday, let's remember that Jesus is alive. Jesus is risen. Jesus will never die again, and he can live in us if we live in him. Happy Easter.